Right, so I've had a quick look into this colony and just gone forward 3 frames, and I found one that was just slightly wet, which as you can see there I've fiddled with, and then I found a charged queen cell on the next one. So I've stopped so that Stuart can look for the queen, because if we don't find a sealed queen cell, she should be in there. By a charged queen cell, I mean it's one that they've started to draw down, and it's got a larvae in there, a grub in there, and it's also got a goodly amount of the queen food. What did you say, Stuart?
Royal jelly.
Royal jelly, yes. Threw me out. Right, it's there, if that's the one that I saw. I'd quite like to get a little look in there for the... once you're finished your bit. You have to be very careful of queen cells when they're at this stage, because the grubs float, which is not the right word, on the royal jelly, but of course they're hanging upside down, so really what they're doing is they're sort of clinging on at the bottom, not actually physically clinging on. Can you see it's white in there? And you might just be able to see a little grub in there as well. Well, not now because there's a bee seeing to it, yes. So any bang and the grub will fall off of his royal jelly and then will die. So that's the same actually after they've just been sealed. Once they've developed a bit, it's not such a worry, but at this stage you've got to be very gentle. We obviously replaced a couple of frames when we were in here last time, so we've got some nice clean frame. I reckon you should replace about 10% a year, or a bit more even. Some people replace it all every couple of years, which would be ideal. Reduces virus build-up in the wax, that's what they say.
Also helps stop them swarm.
Giving them fresh helps stop them swarm, doesn't it? Because it gives them something else to do. So it's very handy. Chris Manton on Twitter was showing how he's experimenting with checkerboarding. So he's taking frames out.
Sealed.
Oh, a sealed queen cell. Right. So she could have already gone, but there's a lot of bees in there, so I'm still hopeful. Queen goes once there's... usually goes. Please don't read books. Queen usually goes once the first queen cell is sealed. But we found them many days after, because it a lot depends on the weather. The weather has bucked up now, so yesterday wouldn't have been a bad day to swarm. Today would be a good day. Still a little bit of a breeze, but not bad. It's looking pretty good out there for a bee. I thought I saw her. I doubt that I did. It was somewhere around here. Just looked like something oranger, but no. I'm getting above myself. I'm now imagining I'm seeing queens. No. I have spotted one queen today. I moved, one colony was doing very poorly, and when they get too small they can't defend a normal hive entrance, so I moved them down into a polynuke. A lot of people would stick 2 together at that point, but I don't see the point of doing that unless you're going to kill the queen that's useless. Another sealed cell there, because who knows, she might win and you could then have a useless queen at the head of a bigger colony. So we just put them down. Hopefully they'll make another queen. If they dwindle a bit more, we'll probably tap her on the head. But sometimes you find if you give them the warmth of a polynuke and the easily defensible door, so they don't get robbed, they will pull up. So it's worth a try. I say the warmth of a polynuke. I think what you really give them is a very stable temperature. It's probably cooler in there during the day because the polystyrene is very good insulation, and of course it's warmer at night and easier to keep warm at night with their tight fitting lid. They haven't got a bottom, so, but of course they don't get drafts. They've got a mesh bottom. They don't get drafts because they've got nowhere for the air to escape at the top. Warm air rises, they keep lovely and snug in there, but not no chance of damp, fetid air building up because of the open bottom. So I think it's a very good system. Just giving a little puff at the front in order to try and, if the queen's down, to try and drive her up a bit. That's what he's doing. You can see why they felt it was time to swarm. They're very, very full. Going to be doing a waggle dance there. It's very small, so whatever she's found is not a long way away. It's quite a tight circle she's doing. What are your thoughts, Stuart?
She's still in here.
I think she's still in there. Feels as if she's still in there, doesn't it?
So now we have patience.
Yes. Is it my smoker that's gassing me? Yes. Let's see if I can move that without turning you off. That's it. It's the trouble with this mobile phone. The whole it's a whole screen, and you're only going to brush the screen, and you're gone. That's my excuse. A build up of drones, as you always do in a colony that's planning to swarm. They usually swarm in the afternoon after lunch. Not always.
Yeah, they don't read books.
No, they don't read books. Mind you, neither do I. I found the trouble is there are hundreds and hundreds of books written on beekeeping, and mostly they contradict each other. And you get 3 beekeepers in a room, and you'll get 5 opinions. So when we first started, we picked a single book that was modern, so it was about Varroa and things like that. And we just said, right, we're going to do what he says. Obviously, we listened to our mentors and we went to talks and things like that. But we didn't confuse our creaky brains too much. And we stuck to Clive de Bruyn's. And then once we felt we knew more what we were doing, then you adapt things to do things in a way that suits you. But you're always learning. Nowadays, of course, we've got many other ways of learning, particularly YouTube and those sort of things. There's not many cells in there, is there, Stuart?
No.
But they do look like swarm cells.
Of course, we had Ricky for a while.
Yes, absolutely. We had, well, after our initial mentor died, he was in his 80s, got flu and left us very suddenly. And then we had Ricky Wilson, who, you know, if we had any doubts, we did what Ricky said. He'd been keeping them for many years. He was also in his 80s. You wouldn't have known it. You would never have guessed it. You'd have said he was 20 years younger, and his wife. And then, of course, we lost him to COVID. So there we are.
And now we got Murray McGregor on Twitter.
Yes, and now if Murray says you do X, we consider that he's right. He's got more experience than any other beekeeper in Britain. I think he's the third generation. And, you know, obviously you've got to allow for the fact that Scotland's a different country, and you've got to keep bees in a way that's appropriate for your locality. The other beekeeper we think a great deal of, who we've never met, is the apiarist. He's actually a research beekeeper, but he's blooming good. I'm going to have to move this smoker again. We're going to expire. Yeah. It's getting a bit carried away. Stuart cleaned the top, and I'm looking forward to it coking up again, frankly. It made it a bit enthusiastic. It's a lovely warm day, even though the sun's not out. We're slowly melting in our bee suits, but it'll get warmer yet.
Bees aren't flying well.
No, the bees are not flying well, but that could be because there's nothing for them to gather. You know, the trees are finished. This is the farms around here are fairly intensive. This one actually is mostly sheep, but mostly the others are cattle. So, you know, you've got silage fields, dairy cattle. So, you know, they're going to be pretty intensive. The hedges are all kept quite short. So once the trees are finished, it's just the stuff in the hedgerows, not all of which is suitable for bees. There will be clover a bit later on, although one of the local dairy farms does do a clover lay for silaging. Unfortunately, they use the modern bred white clover, and our honeybees' tongues aren't long enough. Good for the bumbles, but no good for the honeybees. Right, I'm going to switch you off to conserve batteries. There's one of the sealed cells. It's a nice long one, as you can see. Do you see the bee on it vibrating? They can definitely communicate with, look, tapping it with her tail. They definitely communicate with the bees inside. They decide when they're going to come out. If they don't like the look of something, or they don't think they should come out at that point, they stick more wax on the outside to keep them in. So we don't fully understand what they're doing, but they're definitely in control, the workers. This is not ruled by the Queen. It's the queen's there, but she's at the mercy of people under her, which I suspect is pretty much the case with our own queen. Like, she doesn't do what she wants to do, she does what she gets told to do, and has been doing for the last 70 years. There's a new queen, new bee emerging, several of them coming out there to begin her duties in the hive. She'll be going around cleaning. Pretty well as soon as she's out, she'll be going around cleaning.
Still got eggs in him.
You've still got eggs? So she's gone. She hasn't gone very recently, has she? Right, you keep looking. I'm going to give this a rest for a minute because people will be fed up with me wittering. And we'll go back in again if you find her. Okay, having been through them 3 times, we're trying a tip that somebody mentioned on Twitter, which was to split the hive and see which side looked most worried. Now then, how do you tell if a bee is worried? Right, if they feel they're queenless, they will start running around. Mind you, I should think I'd be quite worried if somebody had taken your roof off, so that may not be the only reason they're running around. I notice that we do have them scenting here, but does that mean they're scenting? If this was a swarm, we'd go, oh good, the queen's in there, they're scenting to bring everybody else in. But could they now be scenting because they wonder where the queen has gone? So here's the other half. No scenting. Some running around, but only inside the hive. We haven't got anybody running down the sides looking for her, as they undoubtedly do when they lose their queen. You see them quite panic-stricken, running around, going, we've lost the queen. Is anybody running around looking as if they're looking for the queen? Possibly. So my conclusion is that possibly she's over there, but it's hardly set in stone. Stuart, who's not convinced by this process, is just having a quick look on these ones as he puts them back into position. We really are going to have to pack up on this. It's not fair on the bees. Plus we have got other work to do. But so he's going to look through there. You think these would be scenting because they've been moved and they'd be saying, hang on, everybody come over here. I don't know. She's not out the front, Stuart, I have looked. Of course, the thing is, she could be just running around in the box. If you've got a queen that runs around in the box. We had one queen, we had her for years, and we never did see her, despite looking, because she was obviously one who said, take the lid off, and I'll just drop to the floor. Oh, and she's beautiful.
It's small.
So, Stuart has found her, and she was, of course, in the one where they were scenting. So perhaps we've learnt something. You know, I assume that, no, there was no queen cells on that one, was there? So now we can split this.
Cracking the bird.
She was actually laying an egg when Stuart found her, so she's not actually planning to swarm just at this minute. So there we have it. 2 of them.
Trixie beavers, no queen cells on that one.
There were some queen cells in there,
Are you
but
ready to grab it?
grab what? What do you want me to grab?
Put that drawn one in.
A drawn one in, right? Okay.
So she's got somewhere to lay.
She'll have somewhere to lay.
Oh, next to it.
Well, you've got to shake more bees in though,
Yeah,
haven't you?
just give
So,
it a gap.
so exactly. So So Stuart's shaking a few more bees in. Really, it's the ones that stay clinging on that you want, because it's the baby bees who can't fly who stay clinging on. Is that enough?
Yeah.
Out the way, girls and boys. There we are. So we're going to put her over there. Stuart now needs these. He'll spread them out, not too close together. There's plenty of young bees in here. And those will all go back, and we'll put that one up there. I'll switch off now and go and do things and then show you the end result. Right, so they're in their new position. We didn't used to do this. We used to always take them at least 3 miles away. I think that is a better system, but for one reason and another we decided against it. So there we are. We'll let them out. There seem to be quite a few bees who are happy to say, right, we have swarmed, because that's what we've done. We've done an artificial swarm. So as you can see, they haven't all rushed out and rushed back to their parent hive. They'd be more inclined to do that if the queen wasn't in there. So doing egg splits and those sort of things with and leaving them in there far riskier, because an awful lot of flying bees would go home. Obviously, if you could fiddle a bit, but we'd fiddled enough with them, you could make certain you had an awful lot of young bees who won't fly. So there, she's had a swarm. She's got enough bees. She's got brood in there to keep her there. She obviously wasn't planning to swarm just at this minute, because she was still laying eggs. We've got half a thing of syrup up here, and they can get on with making a new queen. Stuart will have left them 2 queen cells, because we're always nervous of leaving one. Does mean you may lose a cast, but it's just the way we do it. And less will go with it because we've taken a few bees to here. But the main thing is they will continue to gather honey, because they haven't lost half their bees. So there we are. Success at last. And we now know that they stand there with their little scent glands up in the air in the one where the queen is. So if we have to use this again, we will know, right, she's in there, because look, they're scenting. That was the big difference that I observed. And now you can see there's people running around on the outside of this one, where we've taken the queen from, going, oh, there's the queen. What has happened to the queen? Is she out here somewhere? Let's look for her and bring her back. It's okay, they were planning to swarm anyway, so they'll soon forget about that.